Welcome to Tell Me More Stories Told as a podcast where we dig deep into some fascinating historical events. Today we're diving into the story of Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, a couple at the center of a Cold War espionage case that shocked the nation and still generates debate to this day.
It's a story that really captures the anxieties of that era.
Yeah.
Imagine the world's on edge,
Yeah.
staring down the threat of nuclear war.
Right.
Suddenly, this American couple
Right out of the blue.
is accused of handing over the secrets of the atomic bomb
To the Soviets.
to the Soviets. Yeah.
So let's start with Julius and Ethel themselves. I mean, they weren't, your stereotypical spies sneaking around in trench coats. They were a young couple from working-class Jewish families in New York City.
Right.
And-
And what's fascinating is their early involvement in the Young Communist League.
Oh, really?
This was during the 1930s,
Yeah.
a time of great social and political upheaval.
Right.
And their affiliation with the Communist Party would later be used against them, painting them as ideological threats during a period of intense anti-communist sentiment.
So the world is plunged into World War II and then emerges into this new chilling conflict, the Cold War, a war of ideologies, suspicion, and paranoia.
Right.
And it's in this pressure cooker that the accusations against the Rosenbergs emerge.
Exactly. And the accusations were explosive.
Yeah.
The Rosenbergs were accused of conspiring to pass atomic secrets,
Wow.
the very blueprints of America's nuclear might to the Soviet Union.
Oh.
This wasn't just any leak.
Right.
It was potentially giving America's biggest rival the key to unimaginable destructive power.
And this is where the story takes a personal turn.
Right.
Because a key witness in the case against the Rosenbergs
Yeah.
was David Greenglass, Ethel's own brother.
It's a tragic twist.
Oh, wow.
Greenglass himself admitted to participating in the spy ring,
He did.
and his testimony directly implicated both Julius and Ethel.
So he threw them under the bus.
It really raises the question, how much did family ties and personal loyalties play into the events that unfolded?
Right.
And later on, Greenglass would actually recant parts of his testimony,
Oh, wow.
adding another layer of complexity to an already convoluted case.
So it's like a puzzle where the pieces keep shifting.
Exactly.
We have this high-stakes trial,
Yeah.
the Rosenbergs facing the death penalty,
All right.
and the world is watching.
The whole world.
What was the atmosphere like during that time?
The trial was a media frenzy.
I bet.
Newspapers were filled with headlines, public opinion was divided, and the fear of communism was palpable.
Yeah.
The judge in the case, Irving Kaufman,
Okay.
he actually linked the Rosenbergs' alleged actions to American casualties in the Korean War,
Yeah.
highlighting the tense political climate and the weight of the accusations.
Wow. Talk about pressure.
Yeah.
So the trial unfolds and the verdict comes in. Guilty.
Guilty.
The Rosenbergs are sentenced to death. What happened next? Was there any attempt to appeal the verdict or seek clemency?
There was a massive international outcry.
Really?
Protests erupted worldwide.
Wow.
Prominent figures like Albert Einstein pleaded for clemency.
Wow.
Even Pope Pius XII urged President Eisenhower to intervene.
It's incredible to think about the global reach of this case.
It really is.
But despite these places, the execution date was set for June 19th, 1953.
Right.
Can you describe that day?
It was a somber day,
Yeah,
marked by a sense of tragedy and controversy.
I can imagine.
Julius and Ethel Rosenberg were executed at Sing Sing prison,
Wow.
becoming the first American civilians to be put to death for espionage during peacetime.
That's intense.
The image of smoke rising from Ethel's head after multiple electric shocks were administered
Oh my God.
is a haunting reminder of the finality and brutality of their punishment.
Before we go any further, I want to remind our listeners to hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
That way you won't miss any other episodes of Tell Me More, where we dive deep into captivating stories just like this one. Now, back to the Rosenbergs. Even after their execution, the debate over their guilt didn't disappear, did it?
Absolutely not. In fact, new evidence has emerged over the years
Really?
that has cast further doubt on the case.
Like what?
For example, the Venona Project,
Okay.
a top-secret U.S. program that was decrypting Soviet messages,
Okay.
revealed information about Julius's involvement in espionage,
Okay.
but shed little light on Ethel's role.
So we have this new information about Julius,
Right.
but Ethel's role remains a bit of a mystery. Some argue she was simply aware of her husband's actions, while others believe she played a more active part.
And this debate is fueled by conflicting accounts.
How so?
For instance, Morton Sobel, who was convicted alongside the Rosenbergs,
Okay.
later admitted to espionage,
Yeah.
but claimed that Ethel was not directly involved.
Okay.
So this leaves us with a lot of unanswered questions,
Yeah.
especially regarding the extent of Ethel's knowledge and participation.
Right. It sounds like we're only just scratching the surface of this intricate story. And the intrigue deepens because just this year, a newly declassified memo from 1950 adds fuel to the fire.
Right.
This memo, written by a top codebreaker at the National Security Agency, actually concluded that Ethel wasn't engaged in espionage,
Wow.
even though she probably knew what Julius was up to.
That's a significant development.
Yeah.
It raises serious questions about why she was prosecuted and convicted if there wasn't strong evidence of her direct involvement in espionage.
Right.
Was she simply a victim of circumstance, caught in the crosshairs of the Cold War hysteria?
Yeah.
Or is there more to the story?
It makes you wonder how much of the case against Ethel was built on solid evidence
Right.
versus the prevailing fear of communism that was gripping the nation.
Yeah.
Was she a scapegoat, a way to pressure Julius, or was there something more we're still missing?
Well, that's a key question.
Yeah.
The Red Scare, as it was called, was a period of intense anti-communist fear and paranoia in the United States.
Yeah.
It created an atmosphere where accusations of communist sympathies could ruin lives and careers.
Oh, absolutely.
And in this context, it's possible that Ethel's association with Julius and their past involvement with the Communist Party played a role in her conviction,
Yeah.
even if the evidence of her direct involvement in espionage was weak.
It's a chilling reminder of how fear and suspicion can undermine justice.
Absolutely.
But beyond the legal aspects, the Rosenberg case also had a profound impact on the Rosenbergs' children, didn't it?
Absolutely. Imagine being 6 and 10 years old,
Yeah.
witnessing your parents being accused, tried, and ultimately executed for treason.
Wow.
The emotional toll on the Rosenberg sons, Michael and Robert,
Right.
must have been immense. They lost not only their parents,
Right.
but also their childhood in many ways.
Yeah?
Thrust into the spotlight of a national controversy that few could comprehend.
That's heartbreaking.
It really is.
They were essentially orphaned by the state, left to grapple with the trauma of their parents' loss and the shadow of their legacy.
Exactly.
Did they just disappear from public view after the execution? Or did they try to fight back to clear their parents' names?
Well, to their credit, the Rosenberg sons didn't shy away from the fight.
Right.
They dedicated their lives to uncovering the truth about their parents' case,
Wow.
advocating for their mother's exoneration, and seeking a reassessment of the historical narrative that had branded their parents as traitors.
So they refused to let their parents' story be buried by history.
Right.
They actively challenged the official narrative,
Right.
digging for evidence, writing books,
Yeah.
engaging in legal battles.
Yeah. That must have been a long and arduous journey.
Oh, I bet.
It was.
Hmm.
Their efforts helped keep the case alive in the public consciousness,
Right.
ensuring that the questions surrounding the Rosenbergs' guilt and the fairness of their trial wouldn't fade away.
Right.
Their advocacy has prompted new generations to re-examine the evidence.
Yeah. Consider alternative perspectives and engage in a critical dialogue about the legacy of the Cold War and its impact on individual lives.
Their story is a testament to the idea that history is not static.
Right.
It's a living, evolving narrative
Yeah.
that can be shaped by new evidence, different perspectives, and the unwavering determination of those seeking justice.
Yeah.
And in the case of the Rosenbergs, that search for truth continues to this day. But beyond the specific details of this case, what broader lessons can we draw from the Rosenberg story? What does it tell us about the dangers of Cold War thinking, about the fragility of justice in times of fear, and about the importance of constantly questioning and reinterpreting the past?
Well, the Rosenberg case serves as a stark reminder of how easily fear and ideology can warp the course of justice.
Yeah.
It highlights the dangers of government overreach, the susceptibility of the judicial system to political pressure,
Right.
and the enduring consequences of actions taken in the name of national security.
Yeah. The case also underscores the importance of critical thinking,
Yeah.
of challenging official narratives, and of seeking truth even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient.
It's a powerful message about the need for vigilance, for holding power accountable,
Right.
and for ensuring that justice is not sacrificed at the altar of political expediency or societal fear.
That's right.
The Rosenberg story is a tragedy on many levels.
Yeah.
It's a story of betrayal, of political maneuvering,
Right.
and of the devastating impact of Cold War paranoia on individuals, families, and the very fabric of American society.
Yeah.
But it's also a story of rebellions, of the fight for truth, and of the enduring power of family bonds.
Exactly.
It's a story that continues to resonate today,
It does.
challenging us to grapple with complex questions about justice, history, and the enduring legacy of one of the most tumultuous periods in human history. It's also important to remember that the Rosenberg case wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a larger pattern of espionage and counterespionage activities that played out on a global scale during the Cold War.
You're absolutely right.
Dozens of other individuals were accused, tried, and convicted of spying for the Soviet Union during this period.
The Rosenberg case became emblematic of this era of suspicion and fear, but it was just one piece of a much larger puzzle. The Cold War was a time of intense ideological conflict, and both the United States and the Soviet Union engaged in extensive espionage networks to gain an advantage over the other.
Yeah.
And these activities often had devastating consequences for the individuals involved,
Yeah.
regardless of their guilt or innocence.
It's almost like a shadow war was being fought alongside the more visible geopolitical maneuvering and arms race.
Exactly.
But what makes the Rosenberg case stand out, even among all those other espionage cases?
Yeah.
Why has it continued to capture the public imagination for so long?
I think several factors contribute to the Rosenberg case's enduring fascination.
Like with...
First, the fact that they were an American couple accused of betraying their own country.
Okay.
That made the case incredibly sensational at the time.
Yeah.
Second, the death penalty, especially for Ethel,
Right.
remains a point of major controversy.
Yeah.
Many people believe that their punishment was disproportionate to their alleged crimes,
Right.
especially in light of later evidence that cast doubt on Ethel's direct involvement in espionage.
And of course, the timing of the case at the height of Cold War anxieties, when fear of communism was rampant in America, undoubtedly played a role in shaping public perception and influencing the outcome of the trial.
Exactly. The Red Scare created an environment where accusations of communist sympathies were enough to destroy reputations and careers. In this context, it's understandable why the Rosenbergs trial became such a flashpoint, a focal point for both anxieties about national security and concerns about the erosion of civil liberties in the name of combating communism.
So their story forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about our own history, about the balance between national security and individual rights,
Right.
and about the potential for injustice when fear and ideology take precedence over due process.
And I think that's why the Rosenberg case continues to be relevant today. It serves as a reminder that we must be vigilant in safeguarding our freedoms, even in times of crisis.
Right.
It reminds us that justice must be based on evidence, not on fear or prejudice. And it underscores the importance of constantly questioning official narratives, of seeking truth even when it challenges our preconceived notions or forces us to confront uncomfortable aspects of our past.
It's a story that encourages critical thinking,
Yeah.
historical awareness, and a commitment to ensuring that the mistakes of the past are not repeated.
Exactly.
The Rosenberg case may be a historical event,
Right.
but the questions it raises about justice, fairness, and the limits of government power remain as timely and relevant as ever.
Their story serves as a potent reminder of the enduring human cost of ideological conflicts, the fragility of justice in times of fear, and the importance of seeking truth even when it's elusive or challenging. It's a story that should continue to be told, discussed, and debated, not only to understand the past, but also to inform our present and guide our future.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Julius and Ethel Rosenberg case. We encourage you to continue exploring this complex and multifaceted story, to seek out diverse perspectives, and to form your own conclusions based on the thoughtful examination of the evidence.
Absolutely.
And as you delve deeper into this historical labyrinth, remember that the pursuit of truth is a journey,
Right?
one that requires both curiosity and critical thinking.